This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Check us out online at, well, let me see. Go to our website, xzoneradiotv.com, and all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And if you'd like to find out the programming available to you on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, go to www.xzbn.net. Speaking about the X-Zone Broadcast Network, I had the opportunity of listening to an interview that Dr. Kim McGeorge, who does the Secret to Everything show here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, with a gentleman by the name of Steven D. Kelley. What I heard in this interview, well, let me tell you, I just had to get Steven on the show to let you members of the X-Zone Nation hear about what is going on in place that is known as the Getty. Now, first of all, let's talk about Steven. He was born and raised in Southern California. He started a career in the precision electro-optics field during the advent of the laser. He rose from optics manufacturing technician to the manager of quality control engineering and production control. During this time, Steven was advancing the state-of-the-art semiconductors, military systems, and massive optics. After leaving to start his own company, SK Industries, Steven became involved with CIA, working in support of Iraq versus Iran. Sometime later, the newly formed company received a contract to build solid-state lasers for what would turn out to be an NSA operation run by Oliver North. It was the result of that experience that Steven became awake and began the process of researching the truth and getting on the path to enlightenment. He is the author of the book, City Under the Plane, that is available now on Amazon.com. All right, this is a synopsis of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Now, according to Steven, an underground complex beneath the Getty Museum in Los Angeles is the crown jewel of some 250 sites across the U.S., designed to provide refuge to the Illuminati in doomsday scenario. In the interim, these bunkers are used for depraved activities, including orgies and satanic sexual abuse and sacrifice of children, not only by earthlings, but by extraterrestrials. Joining me now is Steven Kelley. And Steven, welcome to the X-Zone.
Hi, Rob. Thanks for having me.
I've got to tell you, Steven, man, how did you discover all this? You know, the Getty, isn't that a landmark spot in Los Angeles? Millions of people go there every year. It's a tribute to John Paul Getty, and the same Getty that was knighted by the Queen, right?
That's right. It's $6 billion was spent to build that structure. Mm-hmm. It's the most expensive piece of real estate in Los Angeles County.
So how did you come across this information that the Getty is actually a focal point of this massive cover-up of cities, 250 sites or such?
That's pretty simple. Really, the way it works is, of course, we start dealing with the CIA. You get working with the DEA, not DEA, but the NSA, and you start getting in these groups. You don't even really know. Eventually, they start calling themselves Bilderbergers and Templars. And then one of the highest-ranking guys that was working with us was recruited to become the trust fund manager of the Getty. And the people that were handling him, if you will, recruiting him, were obviously Templars, because in the process of taking on this position, he was being recruited into the Templars, which essentially became complete upon his going to the island of Malta and going through a bunch of secret initiation rituals in some underground structure in the isle on Malta. And once that happened, he pretty much was lost to us, and he became one of them. But the thing is that we got to the point to where we realized we were dealing with people who were based at the Getty, and we had really no idea at this time exactly what there was at the Getty, what was significant about the Getty, because we're programmed to only think about what's on the surface and what we can see.
Right.
And that's when we brought in the psychics and the remote viewers, and once we found out what was there, we thought we were dead. My brother and I, we thought that as soon as we found out, we thought, oh my God, they're going to kill us. And you see, this is the thing, is that people have to understand when they say, yeah, this is BS and it's made up, is that if it's BS and made up, we didn't tell them that we did this.
Right.
Okay. We didn't tell them that we had some psychic going and snooping around, but they knew about it because they freaked out and they immediately confronted us about this stuff. So obviously, the 200 Nazi psychics that this person said that they ran into on the way downstairs apparently reported back that she had done this, and they knew exactly who was involved.
Okay, now, so when you say this person ran into 200 Nazi psychics, you're talking she actually didn't go downstairs. She did a psychic remote viewing into the downstairs?
Yeah, you can't go downstairs. The closest you can get to going downstairs without being one of them is the elevator. Now,
all right, Steve,
yes.
Hold on. We've got to take a commercial break. Exonation, Stephen and I return on the other side. Hi, everyone. Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well, now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Steven D. Kelley is my special guest to this hour, X-Zone Nation. We're talking about the secret underground cities and the Getty, of all places, in Los Angeles, California. First of all, Steve, again, thanks very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here tonight. But let's get back to the Getty, because, once again, when I heard your interview with Dr. Kim, was like, you've got to be kidding. And when we left off, a psychic had actually used psychic remote viewing to go downstairs of the Getty, ran into 200 psychic Nazis. But why can't you actually go downstairs?
Well, first of all, we saw the elevator. That was the first clue of what was going on down there. It was seeing the elevator, the big monstrous elevator with the bomb-proof door and everything to get into it. That was the clue that this thing was what it was. And then you can't, like I said, you're not going to be able to go down there. You've got to be extremely high rank to be able to do that, or you've got to sell your soul. Seriously, you've got to be either very extremely rich, one of them, a high-ranking Satanist, high-ranking NSA, that kind of type of thing. But I just want to say this is that a couple things that we know that basically prove that this happened. One was the reaction of the psychic. Okay, typically with some of these psychics, they're a little bit pagan, and when they get confronted with this hardcore satanic stuff, they all have a similar reaction. I've seen it often with people that have this persuasion. When they get confronted face to face with what was really going on down there, they retract themselves, they make a bunch of excuses, and they disappear. This is exactly what this person did. As soon as she went through the whole thing, she described it, she got down to the really ugly satanic stuff, and then the first thing she tried to do was make excuses for the Satanism, as if to suggest that it really wasn't all that bad. Okay. We hear this. We always hear that. That's a big red flag. The other big red flag was when the people from the Getty themselves freaked out and started making threats, and that was instantaneously. Now, if something did not happen, if this was all in somebody's dreams, why did these people even know that this person had that dream, and why did they know? Why were they making threats afterwards, like everything had been exposed? And on top of that, several other things have happened. I had a handler, and I confronted that handler about it and read him a section of the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. So I didn't read it to him. I stuck it to him. I cut and pasted it in an email to this guy. and he freaked out too. And basically in this passage it says that their secret weapon is the undergrounds, the metropolitans, that if the time comes, if the mob ever rises up, they'll blow them up with all our treasures and archives. Now, this was written hundreds of years ago, and it applies directly to this thing that we're talking about today. And when I read when I made that guy read that, he freaked out and basically said, "Oh no, we're not all Zionists. There's Nazis too. We're at least half Nazi." And I kind of freaked out over that, but that guy is dead today. They killed him. They gave him a heart attack. And I had another psychic, years ago, somebody you might even know, tell me that guy was indeed actually an alien. And he was one of the two people in my life that I suspected being aliens, and it turned out that, yes, they were both reptilians. And I'll tell you something, now that I know what's going on, I'm starting to see these guys. I saw one this weekend at the damn event I just got through going to, and he had a CIA tail. I saw him too.
What would the CIA be doing carrying on operations within the continental United States when their mandate strictly forbids them to operating in the U.S.?
Well, of course, they don't apply to any. They don't. My God, they don't. As if any rules applied to them. The CIA, of course, was set up by the Nazis and the Rockefellers, and it's completely based on satanic activity. There are white hats, of course. There are people that are conscientious and pro-Constitution, but you got to remember, according to Ted Gunderson, the former head of the L.A. area West Coast FBI. He said that the CIA was actually responsible for running teams that he called the searchers that would go out in white vans and abduct children. And the bottom line of all these plants, if we want to cut to the chase, these underground things here, is that because of the satanic nature of what they're doing, they require a constant flood of energy, psychic energy that they get from mutilating and murdering these children. And this energy is called loosh, and this is what it's really all about, because this is where the alien stuff comes in. And when you get down to it, the alien stuff and the satanic stuff is all the same thing. And we fight them by taking away their source of this loosh. This is their gasoline, their food. They cannot survive without it. So by getting rid of the pedophilia, we destroy the aliens, and we have paradise on Earth. How about that?
If all this is going on, how come the authorities are not jumping all over the information that you have?
Well, because the authorities are corrupt. The entire system is corrupt. Every single one of them are corrupt. They're all bought and paid for. It's an entire mafia. If you read my book, you'll see my own personal experiences with the law enforcement community and how I found that everything from law enforcement, legal, medical, etc., it's all part of a big monstrous mafia.
But
and,
that's one heck of an accusation.
Well, it's all true.
All right. So, what kind of run-in with law enforcement did you have that gives you the exam? You know, like you've lived the experience. We have
was a investigator for the district attorney's office, and I had a job once where I was doing some private eye work, and it was from a gig that I got through him.
Right.
And it turned out that the customer had a legal issue with a colleague, and she was involved in mental health in the legal community. It turned out, when it all was said and done, after I did my investigation, that everybody involved was the same people. The people who hired me were the same people that were involved. It was all a big scam. It was all a big mafia. Even my father-in-law was in on it.
Why would your own father-in-law try to?
Because he was part of the gang.
No,
you don't get that high in that world without being part of the gang.
You mentioned you had a handler. Why did you have a handler? And who was your handler?
Several people try to be handlers, but they didn't survive very long.
Why didn't they survive?
Well, Vince, of course, he tried to be a handler. I was too good for him. He kind of blew it. Ended up sharing too much information, divulging too many things that he shouldn't have divulged. They killed him. Another handler, basically, I figured out who he was, called him on it, and he disappeared. Things like that. So I'm a very difficult person to handle. But this is how they work. They cannot. Certain people have the ability to influence history, if you will. We call these people grand trines from an astrological point. But the thing is that they can't stop you from doing these things. They can try to manage you, and that's where the handlers come in. So they try to manage the events that they know that you're going to be involved in.
You said they killed him. Who are the they?
The they are the reptoid Illuminati guys, the dark side, the service to self cabal.
All right, so if there is a dark side, there is a light side. That's the way.
Most definitely. We are certainly fighting for that side. That's true. The light side, there's only two sides in this universe, politically speaking. That is the service to self and service to others. And we all want to be on the service to others because that's where we get all the gifts, and that's the society. It's pretty much as we're going to transition to where these two sides are going to split apart. And so there's a little bit of a fight to try to get people to go one way or the other. And that's really what we're involved in.
But is this the all-time fight of good versus evil?
Well, when you say all time, you got to think in the grand scheme of the Big Bang and all that. The universe is going to be created and uncreated and created and uncreated many, many times. So we're talking all of this is if you think of the Big Bang as a heartbeat, this will be happening every several times within that heartbeat.
So what is the ultimate goal of the dark side?
The ultimate goal, well, we all have the ultimate goal, and that is returning to Source. Ultimately, that we all want to do it. The only difference is the dark side tries to do it their way, whereas service to others tries to let people learn these things for themselves.
So where do the children come in? Why do the children?
Why the children? All right. Now, Lush, as I mentioned earlier, is basically chi, if you will. It's human emotional psychic energy. Now, Lush is negative human emotional psychic energy. Every time you're pissed off, angry, sad, despair, heartbroken, whatever, you produce this energy, and these dark entities need that to survive. 50% of all their nutrition is that. It also gives them all their power. So their ability to stay cloaked and control us depends on this. And all these political changes that we see happening right now are because behind the scenes, certain individuals, such as myself, are shutting down their ability to collect this loosh. And as that goes away, they basically die away.
How are you doing that?
We got to do it on the other level. Okay, this is kind of a big thing, is that people need to understand between here and God, there are many, many levels. And these entities that we're talking about are operating on levels that are higher than us. So anything that they do, the mechanics of what they're doing and how they do it has to be dealt with on those levels. And of course, they're not stupid. So when they put up a burden for us to deal with, it has to apply to all these different levels. For instance, if these entities, these dark entities, they're not dealing with just humans. They're also dealing with angels and other positive entities on their levels, et cetera, et cetera. So this thing goes up about 11 levels, at least 7 of which I know of. And if you're going to be doing anything, you have to deal with all of these levels. And one of the most important things I should say real quick here is that as silly-ass humans, we actually provide a big role just by knowing about these things, because that makes it part of reality. And putting it in part of our reality makes it possible for these higher-level entities to become involved and to help us correct these things. But they can't do anything if it's not part of our reality and we ignore it. It's just like these higher-level entities, they're standing there just waiting for us to ask them to help us. But if we don't, they can't do anything, because that's how they work.
So where do these children come from that are being supplied to the Getty?
Right off the streets. They get, there's 100, well, my God, there's about 1 million children that go missing in the United States. A certain portion of these children are reunited with wherever they came from. But a lot of them are not. There are certainly there's huge amounts of money and resources devoted to this abduction process. You know, the Pizzagate and all that nonsense. This is all part of it. This is all on the surface. But it's meant to feed a system that eventually leads underground. Okay, this is not just about a bunch of pedophiles on the surface, because all these pedophiles on the surface are doing the bidding of the pedophiles that live below the surface. Okay, and the pedophiles that live below the surface have 9,800% of all the money in existence. Okay.
So who are these massively rich pedophiles that live beneath the city?
Well, you've got your Illuminati, you've got what have you, you've got all the bigwigs. The Queen, of course, is a major figurehead of this group, and naturally the Getty, or the bunker beneath the Getty, you know, that we affectionately refer to as the Getty, was actually intended to be the palace, the future palace of the Queen in the crown when it comes time for them to go underground. Unfortunately, that's been compromised, and that's why you see all this activity around Antarctica, because they're trying to figure out an alternative. They need a new place to escape to, especially since they've irradiated everything with Fukushima and what have you. They need to start getting. They certainly can't go underground now that we know about it.
So if we know about it, haven't we won half the battle?
Well, that's half the battle. You're right. We are winning the battle. This is what's going on, at least from my perspective. I know, and it doesn't really matter. Everyone will think I'm nuts, but we're in the negotiation phase. Right now, we're not just working with the little humans, okay? We're working with the upper-level types. And when I say upper-level types, I mean the advanced psychic types, because they're like the, oh, God, it's kind of hard to explain. It's sort of like something out of Harry Potter, if you will.
Hogwarts.
Yeah, Hogwarts. Think of it as like Hogwarts, and we're having to negotiate with Snape and all those guys.
All right, stand by, Steve. You and I have to take our break. We'll be back on the other side in a couple of minutes. X-Zone Nation, Steven D. Kelley is our special guest this hour. And he's the author of the book, City Under the Plane, which is available now on Amazon. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Don't go away. Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A Soul Balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world. There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the 4 corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Steven Kelley is our special guest. And, Steven, what is the website people can go to find out more about you and the Occupy the Getty app?
Wow. Well, to be honest with you, there's not really much of a website. I do have an Occupy the Getty website, but it's more of a social community. But I really want you to do is just Google me, try to hook up to me on Facebook, and there's a lot of Truth Cat pages. I mean, there's the Truth Cat network, of course, that we have, but there's lots of associated Truth Cat Radio, Truth Cats. Just Google it and get them, join them all. And, of course, if you want to contact me directly, my email is law17gun@aol.com. That's LAW17GUN @aol.com.
Steve, with all the kids today and the youth today using the handheld devices, the iPads, the iPods, and, everything, everybody just has their face dug right into their iPhone and other portable device. Is the other side using subliminal information and subliminal messaging to kind of brainwash the younger people?
They're using all kinds of things. They're using subliminals, like you say. They're modulating the light coming out of that thing to control you that way. The sound, they're screwing with the sound. They're removing certain tones and what have you. They're taking away your empathy. Wow. They're trying to turn you into a zombie. They're doing all kinds of crazy things. And yes, and also on top of that, you've got scalar programming coming from it. And it's pretty much killing you, just having it near your body.
So now that we know there's 250 cities, I'm sure there might be more, that are connected, what's the next step in the plan? Now that we know who they are, we know what their plan is, we know what they're doing, we know where they're located, what's next?
Well, the best thing that we can do as humans, basic Earth surface humans, is talk about it. Talk, and help educate people, because our power is growing exponentially right now. And the powers that be that know it, and you see people like Trump and all that, and as much as trouble as he's being exposed to, guys like him are going to be working for us. And we need to basically point him in the right direction. But I got to tell people, this is the most important message of all this. Even though we are almost there, we almost have paradise on earth, what's most important is we're not going to get that paradise on earth unless we learn how to forgive these bastards. Trust me, that is, if we cannot accept amnesty, offer them amnesty, allow them to peacefully give up these underground structures, release these slaves. If we have to go fight it out with them, it's not going to be pretty. And the best scenario for all is that we promise we will not cut their heads off, and we deal with it like that. We have to treat them like our children, and we have to treat them like people that we love. And because we're talking about with all the money that we get and all the technology and everything that's going to be coming, we will have power to alter our reality. And if we are an unadvanced, selfish civilization as we are now, we will not be able to handle that technology and all that wealth without becoming horrible humans. So if we want paradise on earth, the first step is we're going to have to learn to forgive these horrible people that have been oppressing us for these thousands of years.
So how long have these underground cities been actually been where they are? For example, in the United States, you guys have only been, how old is the United States? 200 years?
Well, 250 years roughly, yeah. But you got to understand is that the Earth is extremely older than the Bible would portray. We've been through multiple epochs. Human beings, as we consider ourselves, have probably only been on the Earth for about 7 of these epochs, which are about 20,000 years long. So in other words, there are underground structures. There's stuff going back to the last epoch at least, which is Atlantean. There's also stuff down there that, of course, various aliens have created. I know Phil Schneider talks about when they were digging the base in Dulce, how they accidentally bore right into a cavern full of some hideous reptoid type things. And, so that stuff is all over the place. So very often with these underground structures like this, you'll have the top few layers will be human, and then there will be some layers right under that will be of alien in nature. And then below that, there might be something that's been there since who knows how long.
Like with people like Bill Schneider and other whistleblowers, how come they never provide any proof to substantiate any of their claims?
Well, I don't know. I think his mangled hand was a pretty good proof that he got into a fight with somebody using an advanced weapon.
But, once again, there's no proof of that. There's no proof of the mangled hand being actually mangled by something that wasn't terrestrial.
Well,
this is what the people on the outside look at.
You know a guy like Bob Lazar, right? Take Bob Lazar, for instance. You know Bob Lazar, right? We've all heard the story, yeah?
Sure, Area 51.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, they legitimately took Bob Lazar and turned him into a non-person. They destroyed every little bit of evidence that he had, wiped it all out. And the only reason we know there's anything that's true is because there was an old newspaper, right, or a company newsletter that had a picture of him on that proved that he actually was involved with this company that they said he never worked at. It was like he was on the company volleyball team or some stupid thing like that, and he was in a picture that says, yeah, there's Bob Lazar, company volleyball team, year such and such. So, in other words, they work really hard to do this, to make us like nothing. And me personally, I go through this. I went through this weekend. I did a big event in L.A. I hope you get to see that video if you haven't. It's the 5D Expo. It's on my Facebook. Well, yeah, it's all over the place, Facebook and YouTube. But very, very important lecture. It's the latest, and you got to see it. But people go, well, how nobody knows you, but nobody knows you. And I'm like, well, what? Yeah, exactly. Why is that? Why does nobody know me? How much louder do I need to yell this stuff?
It all depends on who's listening, I guess.
Well, I mean, if I can, let me just say this, and this is so important, and I can't understand why this is not so obvious to anybody that hears this. And I say, there are 100,000 child sex slaves underneath the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, California right now. I say, hello, I'm now talking to the FBI, the Department of Justice, California, all the police agencies in the United States, all the police agencies in California. If you are listening to me right now, either go investigate that or come and arrest me for slander against this multi-billion-dollar corporation. And if the billion-dollar corporation lawyers are listening, which I'm sure they are, my address is 452 Evanwood Avenue, La Puente, California, 974, whatever the fuck. You'll find it, excuse me. So I am very, very available, and I've been doing this now for 5.5 years. And they will sue somebody for using a photograph, and yet I can say that they molest children and eat them underneath this museum, and there's nothing they can do about it because they would have to prove it's not true, which means that they would have to allow my evidence-finding team to go down the elevator to look around for children.
It's either that, or they don't think your claims are worthwhile even paying attention to because they're so ludicrous.
That's not true.
Well, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here.
Well, I understand, but again, let's play the devil's advocate a little more accurately. If you're going to do that, if you use any photograph that is a Getty archive photograph, use it in any way that is intended to be making money, they will sue you. I've seen it happen. It's almost instantaneous. Now, I have a photograph of the Getty. I say the Getty word. I say all these things on my book. It's been out for 5 years now.
Right.
And I'm making money. I get paid for that book.
You should.
And they know. Before the book was even published, I've had sit-down dinners with the trust fund manager of the Getty, and they said to my face, we know you're going to destroy us. How are you going to do it? And this is how I'm doing it. And there's nothing they can do. There's just nothing they can do. If anything, they have to protect me. Believe it or not, this is going to be hard to understand, but they are Templars. I have a certain bloodline. They are compelled not only to not hurt me, but they are compelled to prevent anyone else from hurting me.
Have you sat down with the officials at the Getty recently and said, hey, listen, guys, I'm spilling the beans. You are no longer protected by the veil of secrecy.
Well, all right, let me just say this. I know this is going to be hard to believe, but the highest level ranking person I've ever dealt with in human form was the trust fund manager. Okay? The people that come after that are underground types, beyond NSA types. But, and I know this sounds crazy, but we have been dealing, you don't have to talk to these people to deal with them. All right, and I know this is ridiculous, but when you're a psychic and you're dealing with other psychics, you don't have to talk to them. Mm-hmm. Okay, they have an army of psychics, like we were saying earlier, and those armies of psychics have like guys that run it all, and they have multiple levels. And when you graduate from one level, you go to the other level, and each one of these levels has a guy that thinks he's really tough. And I've dealt with each one of these guys. Okay, and right now. Before I've seen it all. I've seen them treat us like crap, say all kinds of nasty stuff and what have you. And right now, you know what? We're negotiating with them. We're basically very firm. We are in negotiation with them to give up. And we had to go through crap. And I mean, trust me, the whole process is all about promising not to kill them.
But if they're this strong, and if they are so connected, why do they even care about what anyone else thinks?
They're not that strong. They're going to die. They have a choice. They have a choice. It's either they cooperate and they give up, or they're going to die.
But if you can't get any authorities,
I can do other things. You got to understand. This is the thing. They need these children, right? That's the children. The pedophile thing is going down right now as we speak, right? The pedophiles are being arrested. The networks are being exposed. Their supply of children is being choked off. Okay, they're in a panic mode right now.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
If it's the children that they need, why don't they just raise their own, have a farm?
Okay, there's a reason for that. There's a real... First of all, they've already tried that.
Okay.
They've been trying that for a long time. They do that at Dulce. Horrible. They need more than they can get. Okay, we are the cattle. Mm-hmm. It's set up to work like this. You know, it truly is. And another thing is also, when they're harvesting all these children, they're also looking for special ones. You know, ones with gifts, things like that, psychics and people that have potential to become remote viewers, and they'll nurture those. The little Harry Potters. They look for the Harry Potters. But
if they're as intelligent as no, just a second here. If they're as intelligent to be doing all they're doing over so many years, doesn't it sound strange that they cannot genetically modify what they want in order to get what they need from farm-bred kids?
Okay. All right. Again, they've been trying to do that. The United States has been trying to do that. We've been trying to come up with synthetic blood product to serve this, but what we can't do is it's the loosh, the farm-bred kids. All right, this is a key thing I'm going to explain to you here, okay. and it's hard to understand, but we take this for granted.
All right, I'm going to have to take my final break here. When we come back.
All right, the answer is family. Okay, family.
The answer is family. I would imagine lineage has also got something to do with it.
No, family love.
All right, stand by. Steven Kelley is our special guest, and Steven and I will be back on the other side of this brief commercial break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. We're talking about Occupy the Getty. That's just one of the things we're talking about, and Steven is the author of City Under the Plane that is available on Amazon.com. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Explanation, Steven D. Kelley is our special guest. He is the author of City Under the Plane. It's available on Amazon.com. And if you'd like to find out more about Steven, if you'd like to visit his Facebook page, all you have to do is go on to any of your favorite search engines. I love Google myself. And just type in Steven D. Kelley, Kelley. All right, the question I asked you was, why don't they, create kids and genetically modify them in order to meet the substances required for loosh?
This is such an awesome question because it allows me to reflect on something that I think we don't reflect on, and I realize now just how powerful it is, and that is family love. And because I think about we try to earn love, we try to get people to love us, but the way that people can love us the most is you could love somebody as a brother or sister or family, and ultimately all humans should love each other like that. And I think universal love is the answer to everything, and ultimately universal love is treating everyone like family, family that you love. But just like I'm saying, we got to treat these bad guys that we don't like family. That's the answer to the future. And when you're growing up and you're a baby and you're being nurtured, that's what really makes you what you are. And I think that's really important, because if you don't have that, you certainly can't develop as a human, and they can't have these farms, like you were saying, to grow kids, because they don't have that family love. They certainly aren't going to love these offspring and then slaughter them. Now, the other aspect that's really important about this family love thing is I think it protects us. It really does.
How?
Well, gosh, I'm realizing that I kind of lost myself a little bit, but okay, this is the thing. These people that we're looking to deal with, these bad guys, these guys that are below us, okay, they've separated themselves from us, these ultra elite. They're down there in underground. They've got all this money, they've got all this power, and they've been living off our babies and what have you, and these horrible things. But what they don't have is family love that we have. They would love to rejoin humanity and become accepted and part of that. And that's the only thing that we really have to offer, is to bring them back in and embrace them, because that's the one thing that they really miss down there.
But if they have all this money down there, Stephen, what good is it to them?
Well, exactly. It doesn't. It's no good. They depend on slaves. They've got all this gold. They've got everything, all this wonderful stuff. But again, they don't have what we have on the surface. They don't have the human bonds and the positive emotion that we can generate up here. It's all about negativity and loose collection. And I think that they're ready to give it up if they have the opportunity to return to us.
I'd like to ask you about something I read earlier when I was getting ready for tonight's interview, was that you said that ISIS is fabricated by the U.S.?
Well, the U.S. and our allies, mostly it's a Mossad. I would say Israel, the New World Order, whoever you want to blame it on. You could ultimately, I guess, Satan's at the top of the pyramid, blame it on Satan. But yeah.
Why? Is this all part? Is this part of the underground battle that's going on top in the surface, on the surface?
Well, they could never get the public to go along with the boots on the ground bombing campaign of Damascus. They had to do something, so they created ISIS. This was a contingency. It's always been there ever since the creation of Al Qaeda. Obviously, all right, I've been involved in the CIA shit for so long. Of course, it's all fake. Of course, it's all fake. How could anybody question my God, I worked for Ollie North. I think I know a little bit about terrorism. We supplied the Contras, okay? And do your history. The Contras were our ISIS that we were using against, Nicaragua at the time, the Sandinistas. Right. So, and then of course we created the Mujahideen back in, I think it was 1980 or 1990. I remember I had a cover of Soldier of Fortune magazine. I believe it was 1980, but it had a picture of a Mujahideen staying on top of a Soviet tank, and we were like, those are our guys right there. I was friends with the station chief of the CIA in Pakistan. Hi, I'm on the air. Okay, I'll talk to you in a little bit. Bye. But so I know these things. He told me about the Stinger missiles and everything else. And my gosh, these are just the obvious things. And anyway, so yeah, of course we did it all. We're so dirty, it's ridiculous.
Going back to August 31st, 2014, in the allnewspipeline.com. It says, a former CIA contractor, Steven Kelley, says U.S. fabricated ISIS and funds the terror group. Wow.
That was me, yeah. That went viral, You know what else went viral is when I said Kraft International did the hit in San Bernardino that was blamed on this Muslim couple. And you know what? Kraft International is a company that kills people for money. I'm still waiting for them to come here and get me. And you know what? They can't say it. You haven't heard about it because that went viral. That was all over the world.
So everything that we're looking at today in society, I guess going even back to 9/11, the different conflicts throughout the Middle East and to the terrorism in the United States, the growth of ISIS. This has all been manipulated, and the United States has actually taken part of this?
Well, of course. And Canada's involved, too, obviously. Your Justin Trudeau certainly works for the same people that we've all worked for. And thank God Donald Trump doesn't work for these people. Yeah. That's all I can say. Yeah. Well, I mean, oh, my God, Justin Trudeau, please, I'm sorry. I think he's Castro's kid. I mean, look at him.
Well,
right?
you never know with his mother.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Right.
Like,
Jeez.
Justin Trudeau is not the favorite Canadian child of very many people.
Yeah. Well,
I'm still trying to figure out.
The last guy was bad. Okay. The last guy was
Mike
bad.
Harris. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out how the heck he got in, because anybody you talked to didn't vote him in.
Yeah. Well, you know how those things work, right?
So
look. Ask Hillary about that. Ask Hillary about that.
Tell me, why do you think the pollsters got it so wrong
on Trump?
Yeah.
Well, because their whole job was to lie and convince people that someone they were going to cheat and was rid of the way. So I for day one, I've been saying that Donald Trump would win by a landslide of Reagan proportions, and technically, I believe he did win a landslide of Reagan proportions, but he had a lot of that stolen from him. But when people talk about that, I've got to remind people, hey, Bernie beat Hillary. People say the challenge, Hillary was not a legitimate contender. It's like, how come everybody forgets that Bernie's had the primary stolen from him? That should be a heinous crime right there. We all know it happened. We all know Bernie won that election. So, and then for them, they're screaming about Donald Trump and all this recount, and yet Bernie showed up at the damn primary or the whatever it was with a black eye or some crap. They beat him up.
Tell me, in your opinion, based on everything you know about the intelligence world, above ground and below ground, do you think that the accusations being made that Donald Trump and Russia colluded together to win the election is real, or is this
absolutely ludicrous nonsense? Yeah. Absolute BS. Absolute BS. If anything, the exact opposite is true. Oh my God! We could go and talk forever about all this stuff, but Seth Richard, DNC staffer that actually released this information, was murdered by Hillary Clinton's hit team. Okay, that is a fact. The woman, and Donald Trump is a wise man, and this is why he is not going to execute Hillary as she should be, because, my God, those people were responsible for the death of Antonio Scalia. That's treason. That's a hangable offense for everybody involved.
But how come Donald Trump has not pursued legal action against Hillary Clinton?
Well, for the reason I said, he basically told his people that he can't do it because if he does, he'll turn her into a martyr. And he basically said, this is what's going to happen. Both Bill and Hillary are going to die very soon. It's amazing that they made it through the election.
And finally, Stephen, the United Nations. What part in the global plan does the United Nations play?
Well, I think it needs to go away. Certainly it was funded by the bad guys, and I think these talks about having it removed and shut down are certainly a good idea. Sometimes it seems like a good idea, but it's kind of the camel's nose under the tent. It's too intrusive, too invasive, and obviously I think the United Nations globalist troops need to be removed from countries, and I'm all for sovereign borders.
And based on your expertise as a remote viewer, psychic, as well as the knowledge and background you have within the intel community, what do you think is going to be the next black flag, false flag operation that people should watch out for?
I got to be honest with you. Right now, I'm kind of focused on myself because I'm going kind of hardcore.
Okay.
And this is what I got to tell people is that, first of all, no fear. Second of all, don't manifest anything. And also, everybody has to control the dialogue. You can't sit and, obviously, we're putting out information and that's great. But at the same time, you can't respond to everything that someone else says. You've got to say what you believe and make people listen to what you have to say. And it's so important right now. And so the biggest fear I have right now is they're going to try to shut me down, although I think we're winning this thing to the point to where there's not much they're going to be able to do. Obama's gone. We're not going to have false flags the way we did. It's a little bit, the rules, everything's different now. So it's kind of hard to speculate.
Do you think Obama actually did bug Mr. Trump?
Of course he did.
Do you think that'll come out?
First of all, we all have to remember Edward Snowden. Every single one of us are bugged.
That's right,
Every computer's bugged. We're all bugged. And of course the Trump Tower was bugged. My God, all they got to do is add extra attention. So there's already multiple agencies listening to you at all times. Every once in a while, if you're special, you'll have a few extra agencies listening to you. That's all.
Stephen, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. You take care of yourself, and once again, let our listeners know how they can find out more about you.
All right, great. Again, I would recommend everybody, first of all, Google me. And my name is Steven, StevenDKelley. That's Steven D. Kelley. Google me. You'll find my Facebook page and my book, of course, which is on Amazon Kindle, and I'm going to try to get it out on paperback, and that's about all I can tell you. But listen to my show some of these days, and it's the Steven D. Kelley Show on Truth Cat Radio every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Hey, Steven, take care of yourself. Be safe out there, my friend.
Thank you.
Good night now. I'll be back on the other side of this break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to find out more about the X Zone, visit us online at www.xzoneradiotv.com, and to find out more about the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. I am Rob McConnell. I'll be back. Don't go away.